Hello everybody and welcome. We are going to take a look at the freshly released emberplus device core from SKAARHOJ. We have a fresh Colorfly V3 here with us, and we are gonna add a new device here by clicking on Add Device. Now let's make sure you have Show Concepts on and then search for Ember Plus, and let's add our emberplus user model 1 here. We can put in an IP address to the device we want to connect to and click Save. Now our device that we're gonna take a look today is gonna be a Ember audio console. So let's click Save and we can see that we can successfully connect. Now we need to do something because there is a huge tree of Ember plus parameters available from this device, but we only want to use the ones that are relevant for Reactor and for our use case. So what we basically need to do is we need to build our own custom model config for this device core that we can then use within Reactor. So to do that, we can just take a look at the packages page. Here you will find the emberplus Explorer. And this tool we will use to create our devices. Now, if you click up here, you can make sure that Show in Menu is actually turned on to show the emberplus Explorer up here in the menu. If you click on it, we will find the Explorer. You can select which model we're editing here. And let's just name this Younger model. Now, we need to connect to the device that we want to configure to explore its tree. This tool basically works very similar to the Glow Explorer that you're used to when working with Ember anyway. But this tool you can use cross-platform, you're not bound to Windows. It's running on your BluePill. Now we can click on here and it actually shows us the IP that we have entered on the other page. So we'll add that in here and notice we're clicking connect. So this is only the connection within the Explorer tool. We can see that it has connected to our device and we can open up the tree. Like in the Glow Explorer, we can also switch the text shown here from the identifiers of the Ember tree paths to the descriptions, so everything looks a little bit nicer. Now we can open up our first parameters here, our first nodes, and then find a parameter. For example, load routing preset. This is a enum, so an enumeration, and we can actually go and control these values right from here. Like if I make a change here, I'm already controlling my Ember device. But since we want to do that from Reactor, we can click Add to Model to add this parameter to our model. Now this will be added with a path that consists of the identifiers. This is similar to what you can see in the Glow Explorer. And you can choose if it adds the paths or the OIDs when you add something. The OIDs are numeric numbers and are not going to be guaranteed to be correct every time. So instead of doing that, we add this path and the device core will, in the beginning, search the tree for the correct path, figure out which numbers that corresponds to. Here you can actually see the number path, and then resolve that to the number address. So now let's add a couple of more parameters. Let's see, audio processing. We want to add some mixer parameters here. So we find our mixer 1 and let's take the level magic program, find our loudness target. And you can see that I can actually control the loudness target right from here by moving the fader, but let's add it to the model. Now the loudness target is a real, so a floating point number in the Ember specification. And finally, we want to have some VU meters mapped out. So let's select the leveler gain meter here. And in Ember world, this is actually a integer, but it has a factor, so it becomes a floating point for that. And also it is a stream value, so there's going to be a lot of updates sent periodically. If I click Add to Model here, we can see it show up here. And if I click Add it here, we can see that isStream is going to be automatically checked. I can actually go ahead and label the things. Let's call this VU1 and give them readable names, which are going to be independent from the parameter names that we use in Reactor. Now let's do the same thing here. And that is great. So now we can actually disconnect our Explorer. We don't need it anymore, but we need to make sure to click Apply Config so that the device core actually saves this newly built model config. We can see the spinner and the device core will restart in the back. Now what we're doing here is basically editing the JSON code that makes up these parameters. So we can also look into the editor by clicking on Open Editor, and then we can make our own changes here. So let's say we call this level 1 instead. Now notice how it's important that we click Save now here and then click Apply Config again. But first of all, I just still want to show you a few little tips here in the editor. If you hover over any of the keys here, you will see descriptions that explain you what you can do. And if you're ever lost and you have your cursor here, just press Control or Windows and space, and you will see some autocomplete coming up here. So using these tricks, you can actually work your way around this configuration structure editor. So let's just click Apply Config to apply the change we have just done before, and go back to our tree so we can now see the level parameter is now called level 1. Great. So after we have done all of this, we can go back to the home screen, verify that our younger Ember device is now actually using the younger model. I mean, it was using the same model before, but we've now renamed it. We can still see our other Ember user models, which are still called like that, but the user model 1 we have renamed. Technically, you can have as many user models as you want, just add a new one in the emberplus Explorer. Now, the last thing to do here is to actually map the parameters to our controllers. And to do that, we will just create a blank custom configuration here for our colorfly, and then go to configuration. Now we want to select this fader and actually map it to our level loudness target. So we click that parameter here, and we kind of want to have the VU meter on this middle segment here on the bar. So we choose that and click our VU meter parameter that we have added. And just like that, we can already see that there is some movement happening here. And we can also use our fader. If we just pull that, I'm pulling that left to me to actually change that. And we can see that we've actually chosen the right parameter that affects this specific VU meter. Now to recall our preset, we can just choose a button and select preset recall. Now by default, this will map with a step change because you've seen that this is an enumeration, so it will try to go through an option list. But we want to just choose set specific value and just set that to the value number 1. So after doing that, we can also click here to recall our preset. So this is the basic setup of the Ember device core within a SKAARHOJ controller. If you have any questions to that, there is going to be a new wiki page on wiki.skaarhoj.com about the emberplus integration. If you have any questions about reactor configurations in general, just take a look at docs.skaarhoj.com, which is the linear reactor manual. And if you still need help, please just contact support@skaarhoj.com with any additional infos. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day.